LaCroix did not sponsor this episode, so I am drinking a latte instead. So Nespresso, if you're listening, sponsor me. Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. Hope you're having a great day. This is episode 70 of What's Stalking You. I'm Kelsey, your host. Do you like my new hair color? If you're watching the YouTube video, or if you're watching it on Spotify. I've never tried watching a video podcast on Spotify. I always watch them on YouTube. But I know you can because I do upload the video there. But is anybody watching on Spotify? I don't know. Anyway, I got my hair done yesterday and I'm going for the little blonde trend. I really like it. I feel like it looks really natural on me and a little bit of a departure from my really bright blonde days that I've been rocking for the last year and a half, I think. So yeah. Honestly, I'm just trying to do something lower maintenance because I want my hair to grow and I can't keep bleaching it as much as I was. So pray for my hair. Anyway, I'm getting this episode up on time this week, but it has been a crazy last 2 weeks. I'm starting to go a little stir crazy because work has been really overwhelming. I have a lot of major deadlines coming up, as well as just other side projects that hopefully I'll get to share with you guys soon that have been just in the background that I have yet to see the return on my investment of time and energy, but hopefully that'll get me somewhere soon. But yeah, just been putting in a lot of freaking work. And also I've been running a lot. I ran 16 miles this weekend. Not in one go, but over the course of the weekend. So that was crazy. And it's funny because people ask me oh, what are you training for? Literally nothing. I'm just training so I don't lose my freaking mind. I don't know, it makes me feel proud and accomplished because I never would have thought I'd be the kind of person that would just casually run 6 miles on a Sunday night, but here I am. I'm a special kind of crazy. But I do have a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel because I'm going to a concert on Monday night. I'm going to see the Kid Leroy in Houston, and I've been really looking forward to this concert because it got rescheduled because he had COVID, which horrible. I'm so sorry, but also horrible for me because I was supposed to have already experienced this concert and have the best day of my life. But here's the kicker. I'm actually going to meet him because when I was looking at tickets, I was like, oh, I'm just going to buy a GA ticket. They were $70 or $80, super cheap. And then I saw the meet and greet package, and I don't know what possessed me, but I was just like, sure, let's do it. That sounds fun. And so I spent $1,200 on meet and greet tickets. And yeah, so I finally get to go meet him. So that's cool. And I'm really excited for my outfit. And the content will be everything. So make sure that you're following me on my Instagram because it's going to pop. So yeah, next week, stay tuned for next week when I come back with an episode because I'm sure I'll give you an update on that whole experience because I might die and go to heaven. But all that's to say, this week I kind of wanted to talk about being the person that does it all and just the power of discipline and how that's been implemented in my life. I feel like a lot of people ask me how do I do everything that I do? Because honestly, I do a lot. If I think about everything I do in a given week, I work a 9 to 5 job. I do social media. I post on Instagram and TikTok basically every single day. I'm running this podcast. I work for other people, social medias. I run, I work out, I box. I also go to church. I lead a small group, like a women's Bible study. I do a lot. I also have a social life and I have a puppy. And I managed to somehow do all this while keeping my house clean and paying my bills and all of the above. I do a lot of things. And a lot of people ask me, do you find time for all this? And how do you do all of this? And how do you juggle it so well? And I always give them two answers. One is prioritization, knowing what's important to me. And one is prioritization. I try to get very clear on what's important to me in a given season of life, whether that's working out or being social or just being heads down and grinding on work. It changes over time. It's not always one thing that takes top priority. I know right now, for example, this summer, I've been really trying to focus on having fun and enjoying myself. But now I'm transitioning into a little bit of a time of being a little bit more heads down on work and being a little bit less social. And then I'm sure one day, like, I'll be in a relationship and like that will be more important to me. And then some of these other things will be deprioritized. And so for me, just being really clear on who I am and what matters to me in a given period of time helps me juggle everything that I want to do. And then also being disciplined in it. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, is that discipline is kind of the backbone of how I do everything that I do. Because while I would say I'm a routine person, I actually think about my day-to-day life and it's not super routine. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But I work from home. I do have a 9 to 5, but it is very flexible. So sometimes I'm like able to do other stuff throughout the day and like get the work done later, or I can like schedule meetings whenever is most convenient for me. Coffee break. Also, sorry if I'm talking really fast or potentially all over the place. Whenever I make podcasts, I think I've said this before, I literally black out. Like, I don't know how this all flows out of my brain. I literally black out. And also, I'm drinking coffee, so that makes the blackout even more pronounced. And I just talk faster. But what was I even saying? I was talking about being disciplined, being a routine person. Okay, I'm like a routine person, kind of. And like I work a flexible job schedule, but like every single day looks different. Like some days I'm up early because I'm on a run. Other days I get to sleep in a little bit. Some days I'm, I have my Bible study or I'm going to church in the morning or whatever. Like I'm very strict on my calendar, but my day to day looks different every single day. Like no day looks the same. Like I'm not just one of those people that's like wake up, go to work, go to the gym, go home, eat dinner, you're done with your day. Like that's not how any of my days look ever. So I would say I like routines. I don't know that my life is actually very routine. I need to think about that. Anyway, but I am a very disciplined person because regardless of when all these things get done, I make sure that they get done. And so being a disciplined person is how I'm able to do all of these things because I've committed to myself that I'm going to do this at this time. And I need to make sure that the rest of my life fits into being able to do these things. And so I want to talk first a little bit about why discipline is so hard, because when people talk to me about how do I do all of these things? And then I say discipline, they're like, well, how do I do that? Discipline is so freaking hard. And two reasons why I feel like discipline is so hard. One is it's uncomfortable. Well, actually, three reasons. One is uncomfortable. Two, which is like kind of 1.5, is it requires sacrifice because, and that's like what causes the discomfort, I feel like. You have to give something up in order to be disciplined. You have to give up your time with your friends. You have to give up your sleep, maybe at times. You have to give up your capacity. You have to give up anything that matters to you. Like there are plenty of times that I could give examples of whenever I am working on something and I'm really trying to be disciplined about it and I've had to sacrifice something in order to do that. A lot of the times it's social, and also a lot of the time it's sleep for me, which recently that is not good. But I do kind of check on the weekends sometimes. I've been napping a lot. I took 3 naps this weekend. That was crazy, but it was awesome. But yeah, I just catch up on the week. It takes a lot of discomfort. Like when I'm in a run and I don't want to be doing it at all, I have to push through that discomfort. I have to sacrifice my comfort in order to get the thing done. And you do all of those things to work towards a goal, like you don't always have 100% certainty that it's going to work out. For example, like if you're trying to get a promotion at work and you're like, okay, I'm going to show up in the office every single day. I'm going to go above and beyond. I'm going to make sure that my boss is seeing me work really hard and can tell that I'm putting in that extra effort so that when the next promotion comes around, like I'll be top of mind for them, that they'll see that I've earned it. But just because you've done all those things doesn't mean that you are guaranteed the promotion. And so discipline requires a lot of sacrifice, but it's like sacrifice when you're uncertain. Like same thing with growing your stock portfolio or like financial things. Like you can put $100 in the stock market every single week and see it grow, but that doesn't guarantee that the company that you're investing in doesn't go bankrupt. I think discipline is hard because if we knew that the outcome was certain, it would be a lot easier. Like if I knew for a fact I just had to do these 3 things every single day and I would get 1 million followers on TikTok in 3 years, I would be doing those 3 things every single day, but we can't read the future and therefore we don't know what is going to happen. And so discipline is sacrifice in the face of uncertainty. That's my definition for it. And that makes it really hard because a lot of people don't like uncertainty and they don't like discomfort. Because I think it's in our human nature. Like we want to do things that make us comfortable and we want to do things that reduce our risk and have some level of certainty to them. But I think discipline is a really important character trait or a characteristic to develop because success is a slow burn. Now, you can say, but what about people who blow up overnight, that become famous overnight, or their business takes off overnight? I actually think more often than people realize, those people are not overnight success stories. They're just people that have finally reached the success that they've been working on in the background for years. For example, most people, when they blow up on TikTok, aka Alex Earl, for example, she's been posting on TikTok for years, been making makeup videos, talking, like all of that stuff, the same kind of stuff that she does today. She's been doing that for years. And it wasn't until like a year ago or so that she blew up. But it wasn't because she just posted one video and was an overnight success story. It was years and years of discipline that finally paid off. And so most people who are successful are slow burners. They just are grinding behind the scenes without any reward for their effort. And they just keep doing it with the faith that eventually they will reap the benefits of that discipline. And I also think discipline is important because it makes life easier. I almost think of discipline as turning your life on autopilot, like autopiloting yourself to your dreams. Whenever you do something consistently over and over again, it gets easier. For example, I could barely run a mile at the beginning of the year. I looked on my Apple Watch recently because I kind of wanted to see how my pace has changed and also my heart rate and all of that stuff. And I looked at my Apple Watch in January and I ran like a mile and a half in January at like an 11-minute pace and my heart rate was like 190, which is crazy. But over the weeks, I've been running more and I've been running consistently and I've been able to get my heart rate down. I can run a 9-minute 4 miles, or 9-minute mile for 4 miles and keep my heart rate, closer to 170, which is progress for me. And it's not ideal, but we're still getting there. But it makes it easier. I don't think I could have done that 6 months ago. But now it's not intimidating for me to think about running 4 miles. Like I could go run 4 miles right now. Maybe that would suck because it's 97 degrees outside, but it would be easier than it would have been 6 months ago if you told me I needed to go do that. I don't think mentally I would have been able to do that. And so it's being disciplined is like turning your life on autopilot. Not in the way of like you're missing out on your life or you're, coasting, but just in a way of like you start pre-deciding who you want to be and it's who you become. And so I think in the midst of like being such a busy person and a person with so many interests that wants to do so many things in my life, discipline is really the only way that I am able to do it all. Like I wake up every day and I just know what I have to do in order to make progress towards the things that I've set out to accomplish. And it's not really a question on if I want to do them or how I feel about doing those things, like going for a run or making TikToks or, working hard at my job or any of those things. I know that they're just things that I have to do. And it's that discipline that sustains me. It kind of seeps into the core of who I am. Like I truly do identify myself as a disciplined person because I've cultivated this routine of just knowing what I have to do to get to where I'm trying to go, being a person that just does it, regardless of how I feel, regardless of if it sucks, regardless of what the sacrifice is. 9 times out of 10, I just wake up and I do the thing. And I don't even really think about it anymore. I don't really think about like, oh, I don't really want to do that thing today. I don't really want to go run today. I don't really want to work out today. I don't really want to eat healthy today. I don't really even think about that. It's just like what I have to do. And I know that ultimately it'll get me to the goals and the dreams that I'm hoping to accomplish. And it also requires a lot of faith too. Like I'm disciplined because I have faith that even though it is uncertain exactly how that discipline will play out and what the sacrifice will yield, I do have a lot of faith that success will be that slow burn and I ultimately will be rewarded for my hard work and my discipline and my consistency. And so that's like a whole other conversation too about identity that I could have on another podcast. I feel like that keeps coming up on multiple episodes, just like talking about building a core identity that then you live out of that identity. Ooh, that's a good one. Let me know if you guys want to hear that episode because I feel like that mindset has changed my life completely. Deciding who you're going to be and then living a life as if you're already that person, even when you're not, then you ultimately become that person. And same thing with discipline. Like if you feel like you're super lazy and not disciplined at all, start believing that you're a disciplined person and start acting like a disciplined person, and then you are a disciplined person. And so I kind of wanted to end this episode with 3 ways that I've worked on becoming more disciplined, because even in some seasons of my life, especially when I was struggling with mold poisoning, which that's like a whole other topic because I was battling a chronic illness and that makes things 10 times harder. Of course, we all are struggling with things that put us at disadvantages for whatever our goals are. But I really struggled with discipline when I had mold poisoning, primarily because I was just tired all the time and had 0 energy. But it came down to me being disciplined about the little things that I was prioritizing. And so even though I didn't have the capacity that I do have now and the energy that I do have now, I still was able to maintain routines, habits that have now led me to where I am now, which is an even more disciplined person. Here are 3 just like recommendations or ways that I've worked on becoming more disciplined, and take this with what you will, but I think that this is helpful and it's something that I always come back to whenever I feel like I'm falling out of a routine or I'm falling off my habit or I'm not making progress towards my goals. I kind of go back to these 3 things and check these boxes off to remind myself to do these things so that I can stay on track. The first one being to start smaller than you expect. What a lot of people don't realize is they set a goal for themselves and then, you have to set the little sub goals to like work your way up the ladder towards the big goal. When you're motivated towards the big goal at the beginning, think about the sub steps as like stairs on a staircase. When you know what's at the top of the staircase, at the very beginning, you are able to climb bigger stairs. You're able to push yourself harder. And then you get to the middle of the staircase where you're just like kind of in the thick of it and you're just like, wait, I bit off more than I can chew. Don't know if I can do this. I don't know how much longer it's going to take to get to the top. And you start to fall off. Ultimately, if you fall off, you're not going to make it to the top. And so what I recommend people do at the beginning of trying to achieve some goal or be more disciplined in an area of life is start smaller than is even comfortable. So like if you're running, for example, if you want to run 5 miles and right now you could go out and like push yourself and go run 2 miles, that's great, but you're going to exhaust yourself for the next day when you need to run again. And so right now, maybe you go comfortably run 1 mile, and then tomorrow you'd also be able to comfortably run 1 mile versus running 2 miles right now and then putting yourself out for a few days when you can't run because you're too tired. And so starting smaller than you expect, making those goals manageable and then increasing them over time versus starting off out the gate like super fast and then not being able to maintain that speed or having to backtrack on your progress because you came out the gate too fast. So starting smaller than you expect, making it comfortable to be disciplined. So starting to get a little bit uncomfortable, but not making it so difficult that you wake up every morning dreading whatever you're going to do. Like, don't make it mentally too taxing. I don't know if you're following me, but that is the most helpful thing for me, is starting smaller than you expect. The next one is rewarding yourself. And I used to be really bad about this because I didn't think that I deserved to reward myself until I accomplished the ultimate goal of whatever I was working towards. But some goals, like, don't ever have an end. For me, for example, like, I don't have some goal in terms of running a marathon or something for boxing, like I'm not trying to fight anybody. Actually, I am trying to fight somebody, but not for real. It would be cool though. But I don't really have a goal in terms of that. And so just throughout the process, finding little ways to reward myself for being consistent in the discipline of whatever you're doing. So like for me with running, like I'm not trying to run a marathon, but after 2 months of running consistently, okay, let me upgrade my shoes or let me buy myself a new workout outfit. I love the fit. So that's like where my mind goes. But maybe your mind goes to, ooh, I'm going to get that Garmin, or I'm going to get, I don't know, those running sunglasses or whatever you're into. But yeah, trying to find little ways to reward myself along the way, even when I haven't reached that ultimate goal, has been such like a mind shift of like reward yourself for the consistency of your effort, not for outcome of your effort. It's all about output. It's not about outcome. Even though you're hoping for the outcome, but the real discipline is in the output. That's a whole other thing I can get into too. But rewarding yourself helps along the way too, because it gives you something to be excited about as you go about your journey towards whatever goal you have, just being a disciplined person in life overall. And then the last thing is to not overthink your mistakes or your misses. So whenever you don't hit your goal for a day, don't overthink it. Just pick back up the next day. If you miss a workout, just pick back up the next day. Don't overthink it. Don't get in your head. Don't completely give up on your goal because you made a mistake or you missed the mark or didn't do whatever you needed to do that day to make progress forward. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Like, keep going forward, even though you might not have been your best self or done what you were supposed to do. There are plenty of days whenever I'm like, okay, I need to post this on TikTok and I need to upload a podcast. And then my friends call me up and they're like, let's go do this thing. And I just really freaking want to do that thing with my friends. And I don't do the podcast or I don't finish something at work. And I just have to figure out how to keep on keeping on the next day. You know, I try not to overthink it too much and not get too down on myself, but I don't build a habit of being the person that's always okay with like pushing things off. Like, don't be that person. But if you mess up one day or you miss the mark of whatever you were trying to accomplish, like, it's okay. Don't overthink it and just keep going the next step. So that's my life. That's my brain. Hope you liked it. Hope you found it helpful. Yeah, my whole life is just about discipline and prioritization and knowing who I am so that I can prioritize the things that matter and then being disciplined about those things so that I can ultimately be successful. And as I am disciplined, it gets easier to be disciplined in those things and it opens up capacity for you to work harder in other areas and then become more disciplined in those areas. So discipline is like this, it's like an upward spiral. Like you got to start small and then it gets easier so that you can do something harder and then that gets easier so you can do something harder and then that gets easier. And then life just gets a lot easier and then people will look at you and be like, how are you doing all that stuff? And you're just like, it took years of hard work, but you're making it look easy, you know? So anyway, doesn't mean it's always easy. It's definitely not, but I definitely know that it's become a lot easier for me over the years of just being a disciplined person and identifying as a disciplined person. It's not something that just happens overnight. So anyway, hope you guys have a good week. Hope you guys like this podcast. I know a lot of you guys are requesting guest episodes or episodes with certain people, and I would love to record episodes with other people, but I really only have a one-person setup. So I need to figure out how I would do a guest episode. If I need to like find a secondary location, I need to get another microphone. I just need to figure all that out logistically. And honestly, it's not top priority right now. But yeah, I would love to do guest episodes and I have plenty of people in my life that have amazing things to share. So stay tuned for that. I have been listening to you guys. I know that's what you want, but I'm doing my best. I just got one chair and a microphone, and I'm just a girl. Anyway, stay tuned next week for the Kid Leroy update, and I'll talk to you guys later.